Live and direct, live and I take no jive.
Legalize it.
So how much can a koala bear? Koala bear, koala bear. Koala bear. Barry pulls a joint out of his pocket. Bill says, great, Barry, a reefer.
Welcome back. It's another episode of the Koala podcast. And we've got a regular on the show, Peter Homberg from Berlin, who was previously heading up life sciences for Dentons, but has just made the move to another UK firm, Gunnercooke. Peter, welcome back to the show. I presume you're just doing the same sort of thing exactly, but for Gunnercooke. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Gunnercooke is actually a UK-based firm, but with a significant presence in Germany. And after 12 years with Dentons, I thought it would be a good idea to move to Gunnercooke, who has such an excellent infrastructure and provides the environment for me to provide the excellent service for my clients, in particular in the cannabis area. And as such, me and my team are very much looking forward to serving our clients from Gunnercooke. And I believe it is a very good move. I have excellent colleagues in various offices around the world as well, like in the US, in Germany, in the UK. And as I said, it's very good firm, very excellent environment, and gives me all the freedom which I need in order to serve my clients.
And did any of the other life sciences team in Dentons come over with you, or are you just moving over and working with the existing life sciences team at Gunnercooke?
No, I took two counsels and one assistant with me, which is actually nearly the same team as we have been working at Dentons. So we had, from that point of view, I think nothing really has changed. If you look at my team,
just the logo,
except that's just the logo, the email address, and the telephone number.
Okay, let's move on from that. We really want to talk about Germany and what is happening to the cannabis program, because politics are moving or have moved fairly quickly there since mid-November. And have you got an election coming up? I mean, maybe just quickly go through what the actual politics are in Germany and why the coalition failed, and what we think is next, and what are the options for cannabis, depending on who gets into power.
I would say the coalition collapsed end of last year, and now we will have new federal elections on February 23.
So very soon.
See how this is very soon, indeed, and we will see what the outcome will be. I do foresee that none of the existing parties will get a total majority, which means they could actually rule alone. So we will definitely have another coalition, probably led by the conservative parties like the Christian Democrats and CDU, CSU. That is, of course, then a change, probably a change in the politics in the future. However, we will see with whom they will form that coalition, because they will probably not in a position to, as I said, to have the majority to run it just without any other partner. And there are various options here. Currently, the as we call it, a large coalition between the CDU, CSU, conservative parties, and the Social Democrats is discussed. Could happen. So we will see how this will work on. And of course, and that's important, what kind of impact this new coalition will have on the legalization of cannabis here in Germany.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following the German Cannabis Business Association newsletter, which is fantastic. And it seems that, outside the center, people are just getting on with things, and there's quite a lot of stuff going through the courts. There's quite a lot in regional government. I mean, there seems to be quite a lot of activity. Just in this past week, I've noticed quite a lot of outside investment or people buying companies in Germany to access the market there. So are people being too bullish, or do you think really the center at this point can't change too much of what's already happened?
Yeah, a couple of comments on that, Sean. First of all, since the legalization of recreational cannabis on April 1st last year, and the removal of cannabis from the German Narcotics Act has not only an impact on the recreational market, but also on the medicinal market, which means today physicians can prescribe with less restrictions an RX product, just a regular product which you can get upon prescription, rather than a narcotic, which is, of course, usually combined with some more restrictive framework regarding prescription. So we have seen not only the legalization of a partial legalization of recreational cannabis, and I come back to that in a minute, but this has an impact on had an impact on the medical market, who really exploded, frankly speaking. Lots of new patients have entered the market. We have platforms who are bringing together physicians, patients, and pharmacies, where patients can have an online consultation with a physician, getting their prescription if they qualify as a cannabis patient, and then can order with that prescription the respective product from the pharmacies, which will be delivered to their doorstep. And that has, of course, increased the demand for medical cannabis significantly. And it has, it's I would say, a real boom. And I see it still optimistically even in the future. The medical market will remain a growing market, will be expanding. And,
it's not a boom bust like a lot of other markets, say in the US. And look, Australia, it could be a boom bust very soon if government changes its mind on some of the things happening there. So
yeah.
Do you feel more confident in the German market that it can be managed so it isn't a boom bust?
Yeah, we just 2 days ago on Monday actually helped a Canadian company to get into the German market with an acquisition of a German company here who has a foothold in the market. So it is the right direction from my point of view. We will not see significant changes even if we have a conservative or conservative-led coalition in Germany on the medical market. Of course, there may be some controls with respect to some of these platforms may using or selling the products in a way which may not be 100% in line with what the lawmaker thinks that it should be. But I don't foresee any significant restrictions on the medical market. It will be a growing market, and thus any investment here, thoughtful investment, I think, is definitely justified.
And is Germany at the moment a big import market for medical cannabis? I mean, how is it managing to supply its own market? What percentage is supplied from within Germany, and what's coming from outside? And do we know where? I mean, obviously we know Canada, but are there other markets supplying into Germany as well?
Well, with these changes on April 1st, what really happened is that the tender process, which allowed German companies to cultivate medical cannabis, is off the table. So today, each and every company who qualifies can apply for a license to cultivate cannabis for medical purposes in Germany. Of course, the 3 licensees have been in a pole position for these applications, and they all applied for increasing their quantities of cultivation from that relatively limited amount which they had. We had actually in the tender process 10.4 metric tons for a period of 4 years to be supplied by 3 licensees. So that's a very limited amount in comparison to what the market needs, which is currently probably in the region of between 30 to 40 metric tons medical market. And as such, it's a real move forward. So we will see more cultivation coming from from Germany, but still it is an import market at this point in time. So Canada is one of those countries which is really on top here on the exporters of medical cannabis into Germany. But there are others coming up. We have seen imports from various other jurisdictions, like South Africa, for example, Australia, not to forget, and other countries where the cultivation actually was more developed.
So you said it a few moments back, you'd come back to recreational or adult use cannabis in Germany. What's the state of play at the beginning of 2025? And do we have an idea of how many of these cultivation clubs will be up and running by the end of the year?
The answer to that is no, I don't know. I can't answer it really. What has happened here with the partial legalization on April 1st and respectively July 1st last year is that today homegrow is allowed. Each and every adult in the household can actually cultivate 3 female plants and can harvest cannabis, but only for his own consumption. He cannot actually sell it. He cannot give it to friends. It's totally forbidden. And of course, what is also allowed is that members or that people can become a member of a cultivation association where they actually, of up to 500 members, may cultivate cannabis together in such a cultivation area for their own consumption, own purposes. And of course, there are already a number of clubs who actually started cultivating. Whether this will remain as a plan of the new government, and that's the reason why I can't answer the question. Yeah, I don't know whether they may put a certain restriction on that. I don't believe that the legalization or partial legalization of recreational cannabis will be totally turned back. I think what is necessary to say here, this so-called Pillar 2. Pillar 1 is homegrow and cultivation associations. Pillar 2 is actually the scientifically controlled pilot project, which actually was even one of my favorite solutions for the legalization of recreational cannabis in Germany, has not yet been implemented. The question is whether and how it will be implemented. There are lots of rumors in the market that the implementation may come even before the general elections on February 23. Frankly speaking, I doubt that. We have waited much too long for the implementation of this Pillar 2. I don't think that now in the last days of the government, we will see any kind of these developments. There has been a little bit of a move into the scientific area, but that is not Pillar 2, as the respective Ministry of Agriculture actually said. Pillar 2 still is here on the plan to come. We'll see how it will work. There are, of course, statements, in particular by the Social Democrats, who actually said, if we will become a partner in the coalition, we will move on with the legalization of recreational cannabis as we originally planned. Whether this is possible under then within the coalition is a different question.
We sort of covered the basics of Germany, and like any other discussion with cannabis, you're not quite sure what's going to happen. I mean, look, the same in the States with the FDA hearings, the same in Australia with the federal election. Right. Anyway. I am interested, though. You started with a new firm. Are you finding more work in Europe, in other jurisdictions?
Yes, I would say that's indeed the case, it is a very dynamic legal environment. Germany is, of course, the spearhead here for the development of medical and recreational cannabis in Europe. But other countries are following step by step, slowly looking at what's going to happen, in particular in Germany, as being the spearhead country for the legalization. And there are other countries right now who are considering even to legalize at least medical cannabis for the treatment of various diseases, like, for example, Slovenia, which has a plan for that. Don't forget Poland. The UK is also, which is not, of course, a EU member state anymore, but
although it would like to join the party again, but not be but not be in the party. Very typically,
right.
or very typically British.
Yeah, but if you look, for example, into Switzerland and the Netherlands, Switzerland has established these scientifically controlled pilot projects in various communities, and they are up and running, and they are actually collecting data. And I think that's the most important thing: data, data, data. Let's see how the partial legalization, how in these scientific controlled pilot projects, data can be generated with respect to the consumer behavior, with respect to the impact of cannabis on the society in this respective area. And with that data collected over a period of, let's say, 2 to 4 years, you definitely can go back to the European Commission saying them, well, we should consider that prohibition is not the right way to control the illicit market for cannabis. It is, and that's what the government, former government in Germany said as well, it is important that we have a controlled legalization in order to attack the illicit market and to protect the youth, to get better products to the consumer, and of course, last but not least, to reduce the significant amount of illicit cannabis sold here in Germany.
Political instability is probably too strong a word, but you see a steady incline up for the cannabis sector in Germany and in the EU as a whole, say for the next 12 to 16 months?
As I said, it is very difficult to predict what's going to happen and how the government and the future government will look at that issue. Frankly speaking, in the first couple of months, I do not believe that the legalization of cannabis will be on
it's
that
going
list.
to be top of, no, it's not going to be top of the agenda, is it? There's plenty of other things to discuss.
We have the other things which are really important. I don't say the cannabis legalization is not important, but there are really issues, problems which have to be solved by a new government instantly. So within the first couple of months, I don't believe that we will see significant movement here. And then, of course, it's the question of the coalition agreement. Which interests what party actually bring forward here in order to govern the country here in Germany? And from that point of view, I'm not that pessimistic. I don't believe that as currently the conservative parties are saying, we are turning the wheel back 100%. I don't think that's going to happen. We will see how the legalization of recreational will move forward. I don't think you can't get the genie back into the bottle. I think that's...
No, I mean, I had another quick question before we go is, what's the role of the courts in Germany in cannabis legalization, both medical and recreational? Do the courts, the legal system, the court system, is it playing a role in making decisions on legalization or not really?
There are a number of gray areas, loopholes left by the two laws which have been put in place on April 1st last year. And these gaps need to be closed, and that is what the courts are currently doing. With respect, for example, to what is an allowed advertisement for an RX product. Can you or can't you actually show pictures of cannabis flowers on your homepage being a platform bringing together patients, physicians, and pharmacies. So these issues are being brought to the court, but with respect to the general line of legalization, the courts do not play a role. They are actually looking into, as I would say, closing the gaps which the laws have left over.
Okay, Peter Homberg of Gunnercooke, thank you very much for being on the Koala podcast and giving us a Germany and a EU-wide update. We'll come back later in the year and see a few months into a new government what changes, if any, have happened.